Welcome back to Wikipedia to fall asleep to. Let the day fall away, rest your mind, and drift off as we explore Yar Mohammad Khan. Yar Mohammad Khan was a Bangladeshi politician and statesman. He was the co-founder and first treasurer of the Bangladesh Awami League, the main political party that eventually led Bangladesh's struggle for independence against Pakistan. Khan's residence at 18, Karkunbari Lane, Dhaka, was the League's party office for its first few years. As treasurer, he donated a jeep and a newspaper, the Daily Ittifaq, to the party. His able financing helped mobilize and galvanize the Awami League in its initial stages, bolstered its strength, and helped catapult it into the leading party in Bangladesh's independence movement. Early life and family. Yar Mohammad Khan, inhabitant of Old Dhaka, born of a wealthy family, very good friend of Bangabandhu, founder-treasurer of Awami Muslim League, Awami League in 1955, United Front MLA, founder-publisher of the Daily Ittifaq, and a believer in progressive politics. Yar Mohammad Khan was born in 1920 at 18, Karkunbari Lane in Old Dhaka. His father's name was Sail Mohammad Khan. He was an established contractor. His family made a great contribution to the growth and development of Awami League politics in the initial period of Pakistan's state. Education. Yar Mohammad Khan passed senior Cambridge from Dhaka St. Gregory School. The unfinished memoirs. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman expressed his views about a prominent leader like Yar Mohammad Khan in his autobiography, The Unfinished Memoirs. Yar Mohammad Khan was one of the key founders of the Awami Muslim League in 1949, presenting to you as a historical masterpiece, in the words of Sheikh Shaheb, in his biography, The Unfinished Memoirs. The following scripts are written by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Formation of Awami Muslim League in 1949. Maulana Bhasani discussed the possibility of forming a new political party with disaffected elements of the East Pakistan Muslim League. A committee headed by Bhasani as president and Yar Mohammad Khan as secretary was established to organize a June 23 conference, at which the resolution creating the Awami Muslim League was adopted. Yar Mohammad Khan was closely associated with the founding of Awami Muslim League on 23 June 1949, himself becoming its treasurer. At that time, it was a very challenging task to exercise opposition politics, including founding a party in the face of stern opposition from the Pakistan government, as well as the Dhaka Nawab family. In the backdrop, the contributions of Yar Mohammad Khan and another brave son of Old Dhaka, Shwakat Ali alias Shwakat Mia, towards the building up of the Awami League at the initial stage, have been duly acknowledged by Bangabandhu on several pages of his recently published book Asampa Atmajiboni, The Unfinished Memoirs, UPL 2012. In 1949, people were gearing up for a grand meeting of workers. From our jail cell, we came to know that elaborate preparations going on. An office has been set up at 150 Mughulchali. Shaukat Mia was looking after all the logistical details. Who else in Dhaka was competent enough to take care of food and accommodation matters? Yar Mohammad Khan, a veteran League worker of Dhaka, was assisting him. Mr. Khan was resourceful in that he had the finances and the manpower to help. The party was formed and named East Pakistan Awami Muslim League. Maulana Bhasani was made president, Shamsul Haq was general secretary, Adur Rahman Khan, vice president, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, joint secretary, and Yar Mohammad Khan, treasurer. Karkanbari Lane, the three-storied house of Yar Mohammad Khan located at 18 Karkanbari Lane in Dhaka, became the first party office of Awami Muslim League, which later became Awami League. Party meetings were held in the hall room there. Abdul Hamid Khan Bashani, Hussain Shahid Surawardi, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman also attended those meetings. Begum Jahanara Khan, wife of Yar Mohammad Khan during those days, used to cook lunch and dinner for the Awami League party workers. Before cooking, Begum Jahanara Khan used to ask every day to Sheikh Mujibur Rahman about the number of workers available for lunch and dinner. And Sheikh Mujibur Rahman replied, today 14 workers for lunch and 18 workers for dinner. Begum Jahanara Khan at Karkanbari Lane entertained the Awami League party workers during that time, made enough contribution to bond the party workers further like a family. Mogulchali 150, Mogulchali, Dhaka was a famous party place for Muslim League. In January 1948, Shamsul Haq and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman wanted to establish a newly organized Muslim League, and therefore they created a workers' camp at 150 Mogulchali. In February 1948, Professor Ibrahim Khan resigned from South Tangail, and Maulana Bhasani won that seat in by-election. Instead, Maulana Bhasani was banned for election till 1950. A new date for by-election was declared for South Tangail. Pakistan Muslim League nominated Khurram Khan Pani of Korosha, while Shamsul Haq was nominated from East Pakistan. Shamsul Haq got huge support from Yar Mohammad Khan, Shaukat Ali, Aziz Ahmed, and others, and won the by-election on 26 February 1949. Chief Minister Nurul Amin postponed the election, and a case was filed against Shamsul Haq. South Tangail seat remained vacant. When Maulana Bhasani was released from jail, he came to Mogulchali and declared that the conspiracy of West Pakistan haste to stop. A committee was formed where Bhasani was the president, and Yar Mohammad Khan became the secretary. Rose Garden, being afraid of Bhasani's activity against West Pakistan, many people turned their back. But during such a time, Qazi Humayun Bashir declared that Maulana Bhasani, along with Yar Mohammad Khan, can organize the meeting at his house Rose Garden located at K.M. Das Lane, Dhaka. The meeting began on 23 June 1949, and at least 300 people attended that meeting. Finally, a new party was formed named as Awami Muslim League, opposing Muslim League. The organizers declared that they do not want to be a part of Muslim League anymore, as they remain neglected. They formed Awami Muslim League so that they can say something against Muslim League's negligence. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was in prison, so he couldn't attend that meeting. The committee declared Maulana Bhasani as president, Adur Rahman Khan as vice president, Shamsul Haq as general secretary, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman as joint secretary, and Yar Mohammad Khan as a treasurer of the Awami Muslim League. Organized the public meeting of Awami Muslim League at Armanatola, Dhaka. We of course knew that Liaquat Ali Khan was coming to Dhaka on 11th of October 1949, who told journalists he had no idea what Awami League was. So we called another public meeting in Armanatola, Maidan, on 11th of October 1949. We had one microphone, and our workers went around on a horse carriage to announce the date and time of the meeting. Muslim League attacked them and snatched away the microphone from them. I took along with me Students' League's leader Nurul Islam and Chalk Bazar's Nazir Mia and Abdul Halim. We headed for their Victoria Park office, since I found out that they reassembled there. They used to hang around the first floor of the Cooperative Bank building. When we reached the building, we found them deep in discussion. I knew two of them, Ibrahim and Aladdin, from my Muslim League days. I said, "Why have you snatched our microphone away? That is very unfair. Give it back to us." They said, "We didn't take it and have no idea who is responsible for it." Right then, two Awami League workers, Yar Mohammad Khan and Hafizuddin, were passing by in a rickshaw. I hailed Yar Mohammad and appraised him about what was happening. Yar Mohammad Khan was a long-time resident of the city and came from a good family, was well off, and had many people working for him. He told them, "Why did you take away the microphone? So what if we have?" At this, Yar Mohammad raised his fist and hit the man. Their colleagues at the Muslim League now joined in and attacked us. The owner of Presidency Library, Mr. Humayun, came out and took Yar Mohammad Khan to his office. Meanwhile, our opponents began to hail abuse on us from outside the office. I took a rickshaw and rushed to the Awami League office, where I recruited some 10 to 12 of our workers. Hafizuddin took a rickshaw too and sped to Yar Mohammad's neighborhood. Instantly, his brother, relatives, friends, and neighbors thronged to the spot. Those who were abusing Yar Mohammad Khan vanished immediately. When I came back to the scene, the police had arrived. Yar Mohammad's men accompanied him, and they attacked the local Muslim League office, which was just round the corner in Rai Sahib Bazar. From this day forward, no one had the courage to assault or harass us any more in Dhaka. From this time onward, Yar Mohammad began to take an active part in politics too, consolidating our party's strength in Dhaka city. This incident was enough to establish Awami League in the Dhaka city. The unfinished memoirs, page 139 to 140. After the meeting, Maulana Bashani led a procession and moved to Government House, where Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan was present. Police arrested Bashani, Shamsul Haq, and others. During the clash between police, Maulana told Sheikh Mujib to fled the scene. Maulana Bashani used to stay with Yar Mohammad Khan's house at 18 Karkun Bari Lane. I had to meet him to find out why he had wanted me to evade arrest. I took a rickshaw to a fellow party worker's house. The two of us then headed for Yar Mohammad Khan's house. I could enter the house through a rear door. We took this route to get in. The policemen who were guarding the front door thus failed to spot us. The Maulana and Yar Mohammad seemed very glad to see me. I asked Maulana why he had wanted me to flee and avoid arrest. Maulana Bassani told me to meet Mr. Suhrawardy at Pakistan and discuss to form a new party opposing Muslim League, assisting Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in organizing Awami League. Mr. Adur Rahman Khan was assisting me in every manner possible in running the party. Yar Mohammad Khan was also helping me in many ways. After Shamsul Haq, I had to organize the party. Yar Mohammad Khan began to assist me in party work, and I found him indispensable. The first party council meeting was summoned in Dhaka. However, getting a hall for the purpose proved difficult. In the end, Yar Mohammad Khan managed to get Mughal Cinema Hall for the council. The unfinished memoirs, page 240, the founding of Ittifaq. Yar Mohammad Khan was the founder and publisher of the newspaper Ittifaq, which started as a weekly in August 1949. Yar Mohammad Khan financed publishing the weekly Ittifaq from the Paramount Press at 9 Hatkola Road, Dhaka, and at the beginning Mr. Fazur Rahman, who lived in 50 Nawabpur Road, was the editor. The media plays a significant role and can have a strong impact on political outcomes, and Yar Mohammad Khan was aware of that. As Yar Mohammad Khan was actively involved into politics of anti-Pakistan movement, he called and appointed Tafazul Hossain as its editor, who was working in Calcutta at the time as a journalist for the daily Ittihad. Since 15th of August 1951, Ittifaq resumed its publication, and it played a significant role in the 1954 general elections, and it contributed to the victory of the United Front. Ittifaq then kept opposing all military rule of Pakistan, starting from Ayub Khan to Yahya Khan. Eventually, during this time, Ittifaq went from being a weekly to becoming a daily newspaper. Yar Mohammad Khan was the publisher, so he declared that Ittifaq will be officially Bangladesh Awami League Party's paper. He did this through a power of attorney, and at that time, since Maulana Bashani was the president, therefore his name was published as a founder of the daily Ittifaq. In 1958, Tafazul Hossain changed the name of the original founder and publisher and replaced it with his name. The newspaper incorrectly displays Tafazul Hossain as its founder. United Front. I came to know that Shuri Bangla Fazlul Haq and Maulana Bashani signed an agreement to form United Front. I just couldn't figure out how such a thing could have taken place. When I came back to Dhaka, I went to Mr. Yar Mohammad's house to meet Maulana Bassani. The Awami League office was on the ground floor of the building in which Mr. Yar Mohammad lived. Soon after Shuri Bangla was elected the leader of the United Front, he was invited by the governor of East Pakistan to form the ministry. He told the governor that he would soon submit the list of the ministers. That evening Mr. Hossain Shahid Suhrawardy and Maulana Bassani went to meet him. I accompanied the two to Mr. Haq's house. However, I was not made privy to their discussions, which took place in another room. After a while, Shahid Suhrawardy and Maulana Bassani came out, and we went straight to Yar Mohammad Khan's residence. Mr. Adur Rahman Khan was already there. They told us that Mr. Haq wants to form a government with 4 to 5 ministers. At that meeting, Shahid Suhrawardy, Maulana Bassani and all of us decided that Awami League wouldn't join his cabinet now. Mr. Huck declared to Mr. Surwahardi and Maulana Bassani that, "I won't make Sheikh Mujibur Rahman minister in my cabinet." Mr. Surawardi responded, "It is up to me and the Maulana to decide who the Awami League will nominate." When we all were discussing all these in Yar Mohammad Khan's house, Mr. Huck sent a message that he would include me in his cabinet. The Unfinished Memoirs, page 256, member of East Bengal Legislative Assembly. In the 1954 elections, Yar Mohammad Khan was elected MLA from the United Front as an Awami League nominee. The United Front being an alliance of parties, of which the Awami League was the most important part. United Front consisted mainly of 4 parties of East Bengal, namely Awami League, Meshack Asare Party, Nizami Islam Party, and Ganatantri Dal. Accompanied Sheikh Fazilatnessa Mujib to the prison gate. Renew, got my things ready. I told her, "Do what you think is best, but staying at Dhaka will be tough for you all. It will be best for you to go to our village." I had requested my friend Yar Mohammad Khan to rent a house for her if Renew decided not to go to our village. He and the owner of Hotel Al Helal, Haji Helal Uddin, had done so and helped her in my absence. A few days later, when Yar Mohammad Khan was bringing Renew to meet me, he was arrested at the prison gate. He had been elected MLA from a Dhaka constituency. Seeing the arrest of Yar Mohammad Khan, Sheikh Fazilatnessa Mujib get back to Yar Mohammad's residence. Sheikh Fazilatnessa Mujib hugged Begum Jahanara Khan and burst out into tears, blaming herself for such an arrest of Yar Mohammad Khan. Sheikh Fazilatnessa kept on crying. Begum Jahanara Khan passed the blame to the government instead of Sheikh Fazilatnessa in order to stop her crying. Yar Mohammad Khan was released after 9 months. However, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and Yar Mohammad Khan spent some good times on the same cell inside the prison. Renew sent me a telegram to inform me that my father was very ill and had little chance of surviving. At that time, Mr. N. Khan was the Chief Secretary of East Pakistan. At 8 p.m., I heard he had given my release order. I was sad at the thought of leaving behind my colleagues, especially Yar Mohammad Khan, since had been arrested at the time when he had come to meet me at the prison. I told him, "Either you will be released or I will be back in prison with you again." Kagmari Conference. Yar Mohammad Khan was the treasurer of the Kagmari Conference Committee, which was the first national conference of the Awami League, held on 6th to 10th of February 1957. During the Kagmari Conference, Maulana Bashani said goodbye, "Assalamu alaikum," to the West Pakistani Authority. Mirza Ahmed Ispahani was a close companion of Yar Mohammad Khan, flew by helicopter, and assisted him by providing necessary funds, and attended the historic Kagmari Conference. Social life. Yar Mohammad Khan, being the president of Dhaka City Awami League, finally resigned on 12th of July 1957 and quit politics forever due to some unavoidable circumstances. After that, the chairman of Ispahani Group, Mirza Ahmed Ispahani, requested him, and he started working and joined M. Isfahani Limited as a director. No matter what, but these great political leaders Abdul Hamid Khan Bashani, Mirza Ahmed Isfahani, Yar Mohammad Khan and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman were friends forever. And they truly respect each other, and this made them legends. Even after quitting politics, Yar Mohammad Khan invited Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and Maulana Bashani in his family programs. Assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman on 15th of August 1975. A group of junior army officers invaded the presidential residence with tanks and killed Mujib, his family, and personal staff. Only his daughters Sheikh Hasana Wajed and Sheikh Rehana, who were visiting West Germany, survived. When Yar Mohammad Khan heard the news of Bangabandhu's death over radio, he collapsed from his chair to the floor. He suffered a minor cardiac arrest. Family members took him to a hospital, and when he returned to his sense, he said to put ice on his head. He couldn't accept the fact of the assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Yar Mohammad loved Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman so much that he did everything to stand beside him. Acknowledgement of achievement. Yar Mohammad Khan was a giver and not a taker. Yar Mohammad Khan played a bigger role in establishing Bangladesh Awami League in the Dhaka city, and being the owner by publishing Ittifaq, which played a vital role during the liberation period. The Awami League's first office was on the ground floor of Yar Mohammad Khan's three-story house on 18 Karkanbari Lane. Many of the present generation do not know the name of the Awami League's founder and its innumerable leaders and workers. However, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman acknowledged the contribution of Yar Mohammad Khan in his autobiography, The Unfinished Memoirs. Death. The illustrious son of the Dhaka city, Khan died from cardiac arrest on August 29, 1981, at CMC Hospital, Vellore, Tamil Nadu, India. Survivors included his wife, 2 sons, 5 daughters, a host of relatives and admirers. See also Awami League Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, The Daily Ittifaq, Surajul Islam, Abdul Hamid Khan Bashani Ashab, Uddin Ahmed Shamsul Huq. When you are ready, we move on to Hugo Tassara. Hugo Tassara Oliveros was a Chilean football manager. Career. Born in Iquique, Chile, Tassara had a short career as a football goalkeeper, playing for the teams of Tocopilla, Maria Elena and Copiapo. At professional level, he was a substitute of Mario Ibanez for 3 years in Universidad de Chile. Next, he worked in the youth system of the club and also in the Colo Colo youth system in 1955. After managing Colo Colo in his country of birth, winning 2 titles in 1958 and 1963, Tassara came to Costa Rica in 1959, joining Alajuelense and winning 2 consecutive titles in 1959 and 1960. He coached the same team in 3 other steps, in addition to Herediano in 1969 and Cartagena in 1979. He coached the Costa Rica national team and the Panama national team. He has been one of the 5 Chileans who have managed the Panama national team along with Oscar Rendal Gomez, 1946–47/1951–52, Oscar Suman, Nestor Valdez and Renato Pane. He was the first Chilean manager to work in the Peruvian top division, before José Tadormina, Ramon Este, among others. In the 1990s and 2000s, he worked as director of the Herediano youth system. Other works in addition to work as a football coach. He also was a fitness coach, instructor, author, normal teacher, PE teacher, sport journalist, football commentator, and painter. As a fitness coach, he worked in Colo-Colo and Saprissa. He graduated as a normal teacher in Copiapo, Chile, and next, he studied physical education, beginning his teaching career in Maria Elena in 1952. As a football coach, he started football academies in Costa Rica, Chile, Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, and Guatemala, adding TV instructive programs. In addition, he recorded brief technical lessons for the Costa Rican TV and radio media. Always in Costa Rica, he worked as a columnist and TV football commentator for local games and FIFA World Cups since 1970, earning the award Best Football Commentator in 1993. Previously in Chile, he had worked as a radio sports journalist and became the first Chilean play-by-play commentator after conveying the match Chile versus Switzerland in the 1962 FIFA World Cup. As an author, he published books focused in teaching for kids such as Una manera de pensar el futbol, A Way to Plan Football, Realidad y Fantasia del Futbol Total, Reality and Fantasy of Total Football, Guia Práctica del Futbol, Football Practical Guide, Futbol Total, Total Football, Entrenamiento del Niño Futbolista, Football Kid Training, and Futbol Simplement Just Football. Personal life, Tassara liked to live in Costa Rica because of calm of the country and the behavior of the native people. His children were born in Chile, but they naturalized Costa Rican. Copa Chile, 1958 Primera División de Chile, 1963 Aladulance Primera División de Costa Rica, 1959-1960 Campeón de Campeones de Costa Rica, 1967 Individual. And now a new story begins. Christchurch Cathedral, Hamilton, Ontario. Christchurch Cathedral is a cathedral of the Anglican Diocese of Niagara, located at 252 James Street North, in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. The parish was established in 1835, with construction for the present building taking place from 1852 to 1873. The cathedral has gone through several expansions and renovations since its opening in 1876. History: the parish was established by John Geddes, then the Dean of Niagara, in 1835. The parish's present building was built from 1852 to 1873. In 1872, the original church facade was demolished for the building of a new cathedral. The new building was elevated to the status of cathedral and formally opened in 1876. In 2003, Dean Peter Wall performed a wedding for a lesbian couple, whilst the national church was still in the process of debating the blessing of same-sex unions. The Diocesan Synod also had yet to reach any conclusion on the matter, with Bishop Ralph Spence expressing disapproval of the dean's decision to officiate the wedding. The Diocesan Synod, approved the blessing of same-sex unions in 2004. Because of the event, the parish is regarded as queer-friendly by Anglican and Episcopalian LGBT plus advocacy organization, Integrity. Design originally a stuccoed wooden Palladian Baroque structure designed by Robert Charles Wetherall, it was incrementally transformed into stone-decorated Gothic, initially to an 1848 design by William Thomas, with Thomas's chancel and the first two bays of his nave being added to Wetherall's existing wooden church, the resulting hybrid being dubbed the Humpback Church. In 1872, the original wooden portion was demolished to make room for renovations to the church. The stone Gothic nave was completed to a further design by Henry Langley, the architect of some 70 Ontario churches, in 1876, and inter alia, the chancel extended in 1924 to 25. Meanwhile, Thomas, in a state of indignation over the perverse use to which the Anglicans had put his design, took it to the Presbyterians, who built the still-standing St. Paul's Church to Thomas's plan for Christ's Church. Christ's Church has ornately carved west doors and fine, stained glass windows. Music and arts. The Cathedral is a notable arts, concert, recital and recording venue in Hamilton. Its Gallery 252, operated by the Cathedral's Arts Committee, mounts monthly exhibitions of oils, pastels, charcoal drawings, photography, silk screening and stitchery, as a means of introducing to the public artists not yet sufficiently established for commercial galleries. Since 2008, the New Harbors Music Series has organized free public concerts which coincide with the monthly art crawl on James Street, including performances from Palmo Pulpo, Orphs, Michael Snow, Slither, Steve Housekyle, Dirty Beaches, Slim Twig, Gasoline Gathers Hands Gathers Friends, Sun Circle, and Jeremy Greenspan. When you are ready, we move on to Digital Geometric Kernel. Digital Geometric Kernel, former Kernel CAD, is a software development framework and a set of components for enabling 3D computer graphics computer-aided design function in Windows applications, developed by D-Insight. D-Insight promotes Kernel CAD as a quick way to add 3D/CAD functions without significant knowledge about the subject, mainly for engineers and software developers. Architecture at the top-level DG kernel is a user interface control. As such, it can be added to forms or dialogues using development environments such as Microsoft Visual Studio or Embarcadero Technologies Delphi. Pure geometric functions can be used in background without creating a window. Samples include C#, Visual Basic, .NET, Windows Presentation Foundation, WPF, C++, and Pascal Delphi versions. The Application Programming Interface, API, is based on an interface abstract class hierarchy. DG kernel relies on three major third-party components: Open Cascade Technology OCT, Engine, Parametric B-Spline BREP Modeling, ISO 10303 to 21-step format implementation, and related functions, Object-Oriented Graphics Rendering Engine, Ogre, High-Level Adapter, an extension of DirectX API's Open Design Alliance SDK, support for DWG and other auto CAD formats market, niche DG kernel automates and simplifies the extensive solid modeling functionality available in Oct particularly. It also bridges the gap between complexity of Oct and the prohibitive for small businesses costs of commercial kernels like Parasolid or Assist Milestones. The product was first released by D-Insight in 2001 under kernel CAD name. In version 6.0, released in December 2018, the main product was renamed to DG kernel. The most significant change in version 6 was an alternative high-level interface for Oct technology, which solves a number of issues with using Oct directly. Version 7.0, released in December 2021, includes a pure NET version of the control. In version 7.1, released in March 2023, data exchange via step format has been re-implemented based on Extended Data Exchange (XDE) engine of Oct. This includes support of step assemblies and their hierarchies, per face colors, entity and assembly names. Version 7.1 also marks significant change in licensing. DG kernel is free to use for individuals, small businesses, and non-commercial organizations. Digital geometry versus CAD by digital geometry, D-Insight, means computer-generated geometry. In other words, digital geometry is programmable CAD. Historically, the CAD term has been used for any 3D model representations. In many situations, computer-aided design term becomes misleading. In traditional CAD 3D model is the objective. In digital geometry, 3D objects are an intermediate step for calculations or simulations. Traditional CAD means computer-assisted, but mostly manual work, which significantly depends on the human designer. However, in many situations, like tool-making by CNC machining, the final surface is not known in advance because of the complicated movement. Objects created this way are not designable in principle. Another example is a geometry obtained with complicated algorithms, simulating and or optimizing technological processes. Supported formats: MDG native, GLM native, DWG DXF step IJAS SAT OBJ VRML STL CSFDB BREP CSV XYZC. Also computer-aided design Euclidean shortest path 3D computer graphics software. External links: official website D-Insight. Embedded CAD Dinoinsight.com. Retrieved 2012-11-28. Open Cascade Technology, 3D Modeling and Numerical Simulation. OpenCascade.org. Retrieved 2012-11-28. When you are ready, we move on to Ghada Owais. Ghada Owais, also spelled Ghada Owais, is a Lebanese journalist for Al Jazeera. She was born on November 6, 1977, and attended the Lebanese University, graduating in 1999. Owais joined Al Jazeera in 2006. She speaks Arabic and English. Biography: Owais was born in Beirut to a Maronite Christian family. She holds a bachelor's degree in mass communication from the Lebanese University, majoring in radio and television in 1999. She worked as an anchor and field correspondent for the Lebanese A&B channel from 2004 to 2006. She received a training course with the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, in London in 2004, and a training course with the BBC in Beirut in 2005. She had previously worked as a broadcaster and field reporter for Al Jadid TV for a year. From 2001 to 2004, she was a journalist and correspondent for Aleph Car magazine from 2000 to 2001, in addition to preparing and presenting programs for Voice of Lebanon Radio for the period from 1999 to 2000. Owais joined Al Jazeera as a news anchor on April 26, 2006. She is noted for her special coverage of several high-profile news stories, including the Lebanese dialogue from Doha in May 2008, Eye on Sudan coverage from Khartoum in June 2008. Ghada was the first broadcaster to enter the Gaza Strip with Al Jazeera Channel after the Israeli war on Gaza, there to provide special daily coverage of the situation after the war on Gaza for nearly a month during February 2009. She also presented on Al Jazeera the Maghreb News Bulletin from Rabat. She provided special coverage for the referendum on the secession of southern Sudan from Khartoum, during which she conducted a live dialogue with Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir. In January 2011, she covered the presidential elections in Yemen in February 2012, where she moderated a dialogue with Lieutenant General Ali Mohsen al-Amr, commander of the 1st Armored Division, who supported the Yemeni revolution. She conducted an interview with the Maronite patriarch Bishara al-Rai in the summer of 2012, and covered the visit of the Pope of the Vatican to Lebanon during the same period in March 2013. She presented in the field from the city of Aleppo in northern Syria, keeping pace with the 2nd anniversary of the outbreak of the Syrian Revolution. Owais has been the target of several harassment, intimidation, and disinformation campaigns by state-sponsored actors due to her reporting, politics, gender, and her Christian faith. In 2020, images from her private smartphone were stolen in a spyware attack by foreign agents. The images were doctored to sexualize them and disseminated to accuse her of promiscuity and prostitution. In December 2020, Owais sought legal action in a U.S. court against a number of key international political actors, including both the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and of the United Arab Emirates, for allegedly coordinating the disinformation and harassment campaigns against her. Awards. In 2013, Owais received the May Chidiac Foundation Award for Engaged Journalism. In 2023, Owais was honored as a World Woman Hero by the World Woman Foundation in Davos for demonstrating the personal courage and professional commitment it takes to be a leading female TV journalist in the traditionally male-dominated Middle East. Next, we turn softly to A Virtue. A Virtue is an American metalcore band formed in Lansing, Michigan in 2008. The band consists of lead vocalist Tyler Innes, guitarist and co-lead vocalist Damon Tate, guitarist Michael Valadez, and drummer Ryan Trin. The band has released 4 albums and 3 EPs. Their latest album, Omen, was released on October 27, 2023. History of Virtue was formed in 2008. On December 19, 2009, they self-released their debut EP To Breathe Again. On August 27, 2011, they released their debut album Heart Sounds. On December 16, 2012, they released a 2-track EP Learn/Love. On June 2, 2015, they released their second album Salvation. In 2018, Of Virtue released 2 singles Surrounded and Torn Apart. In early 2019, they announced their signing to Sharp Tone Records and released Suffer from their then upcoming third album What Defines You. The album was released on May 24th, along with the music video for the song Alone. The music video for Immortal was released on September 25th. On November 13th, 2020, the band released the acoustic rendition of Torn Apart, announcing the deluxe edition of their third album at the same time. The deluxe edition of the album was released on November 20th. On December 9th, the band released a music video for the reimagined version of the song Pictures of You, featuring Patrick Harney. On April 28th, 2022, they announced that they parted ways with Sharp Tone Records and signed to A Rising Empire. They also released their single Sinner on the same day. On June 2nd, they released Hypocrite. On July 15th, they announced their EP Sinner, which was released on August 12th. The music video for Cold-Blooded was released the day before the EP. On February 8, 2023, they released a music video for their song A.N.X., that is T.Y. On March 22nd, they released a music video for Cannibals. On June 12th, they announced their fourth studio album Omen, which is scheduled to release on September 29th. The third single, Cut Me Open, was released on June 20th. On January 30th, 2026, they released a music video for their single Death of the Altar. On March 27, 2026, they released The Art of Love. On May 22, 2026, they released What's It Like to Be Happy. Tyler Innes vocals, 2017 present. Damon Tate guitar vocals, 2008 present. Michael Valadez guitar, 2008 present. Ryan Trin drums, 2021 present. Former members Nick Maltby, vocals John Fox, bass guitar Ryan Wilkinson, drums Kyle Pruse, drums Sean Allen, drums Kyle Jacobson, guitar Craig Creeder, drums. Heart Sounds Salvation, What Defines You, Omen, EPs To Breathe Again, Learn/Love, Sinner singles, Surrounded, Torn Apart, Suffer, No Control, Thanks for Nothing, Torn Apart, Acoustic, Sinner, Hypocrite, A.N.X., that is T.Y. Cannibals, Cut Me Open, Sober, Holy, Death of the Altar, The Art of Love, What's It Like to Be Happy. Let your mind wander now to Hoylake Parade Community Center. Hoylake Parade Community Center is a multi-purpose public building located in Hoylake, Wirral, which serves as a community center for the local area. History as a school, the Parade Center was built in 1909 as the Parade Higher Elementary School, which opened 1910. With 89 pupils on roll, each paying fees of $6 per week. Pupils were admitted selectively by entrance examination from the age of 12. In 1939, the Second World War led to the evacuation of nearby Liverpool, led to 230 evacuees being admitted temporarily to the school. With the opening of the coeducational Hilber School in nearby Newton, the school became an annex of the new school in 1973, which it remained until it was ultimately deemed surplus to educational requirements as a school in 1984. Following its closure as a school, the building was used for a variety of community purposes, including accommodating a youth club and evening classes on the site. By the end of the 1980s, however, the building was earmarked by the local council for closure and demolition, though this decision was overturned following a community campaign. An extensive redevelopment of the facility has been undertaken in recent years, with refurbishment of most of the building's rooms and interior spaces. In 2009, the building celebrated its centenary with a number of public events. Current usage, the building accommodates a number of artistic, theatrical, and sporting groups, including Wirral Sand Yacht Club. The sensory soft play resource provides a facility for local special needs groups and individuals. The center also hosts a number of educational and local interest sessions. Hoylake Film Club screens films on the last Friday of each month in the main hall. Tickets pay for the cost to license the film to show it in public, and all profits are fed back into the community center. As part of the centenary celebrations, a previously disused room was restored to recreate a schoolroom setting in the original style of the building, which is now used by school groups as an educational resource. The building is designated as part of the Hoylake Conservation Area. Facilities: the building provides a variety of rooms available for hire, from small and medium-sized meeting rooms to the larger mini hall and the main hall, which can seat up to 100. Rooms are named after local towns and villages, for example, the Caldy Room, the West Kirby Room, and the Heswall Room. The center includes a cafe, Popsy's, which is open from Monday to Sunday, 10 a.m. 4 p.m. Free wireless internet is within the building. The entire building is wheelchair accessible throughout, via access ramps and automatic doors. In October 2016, after a 4-year fundraising campaign, £130,000 was raised, allowing the installation of a lift to the building, which allows full disabled access to the first floor. Also on the site is Sanderling's Day Nursery and Wirral Sand Yacht Club, comprising a yacht storage area, clubroom/workshop, toilets and shower, available for Sand Yacht Club members' use. Our next topic tonight is Fort Parker. The Fort Laramie Indian Treaty of 1868, which closed travel on the Bozeman Trail and in the Yellowstone Valley, stipulated that the redefined Crow Reserve would have a new center point or agency for the Crow. The first Crow agency, which was supposed to be built where Big Timber is today, was eventually located about 8 miles east of present-day Livingston in the year 1869. Fort E. Les. Parker, the first Crow Indian Agency, was built in the fall of 1869, southwest of present-day Springdale, Montana, Big Timber. It was named for Ely S. Parker, a Seneca lawyer who served as secretary to Ulysses S. Grant, wrote the Confederate terms of surrender, and was appointed as Commissioner of Indian Affairs under President Grant. The first Crow Indian Agency was in operation here from 1869 to 1875, until being moved eastward in 1875 to Rosebud Creek, Upsaroki, Montana, and eventually to its present and final location at Crow Agency in 1884. Thomas Lefforge, a white Crow man, said it took its secondary name, the Mission Agency, merely by reason of the fact that in those days and earlier most of the Indian agencies were set up where a Christian missionary enterprise had already been in operation. This was not the case here. James Wright, however, a Methodist minister and Crow agent, tried to institute Christian learning in the agency's boarding school in 1873. The agency was built on a commanding bluff about 40 to 60 feet above the valley floor. Mission Creek, or Skull or Rock Creek, this creek was actually called Scraping Hide Creek, by the Crow flows just to the east of the fort. The agency fort overlooks the Yellowstone River, which is about a half a mile away. The fort/agency was constructed of square-hewn logs, shingle roof, with storehouses and living quarters for the agent, physician, engineer, miller-carpenter, blacksmith, and school teacher, storehouses. It had 2 bastions that served as guard towers. The agency burned down on October 30th, 1872, and quickly replaced by buildings made of adobe, since timber was becoming scarce. Zell M. Black, a Bozeman businessman and trader, was temporarily placed in the position of first Crow agent until Major E. M. Camp, the assigned agent, took over in October 1869. He was succeeded by a fellow's David Pease, a reputable businessman who was fluent in 2 Indian languages and married to a Crow Indian woman. Dr. James Wright, a Methodist minister, removed Pease from his duties by August 1873. Wright was replaced by Dexter Clapp, a former Union officer, just prior to the agency being moved east. The agency was often a stopover for travelers on their way to explore Yellowstone National Park in the early 1870s. The fort was built as a center point for distributing Crow annuities and to encourage the Crow to take up farming. It was a difficult location to teach farming due to constant winds, cold weather, and buffalo herds roaming northeast of the agency. Several non-Native Americans, including local fur trappers, interpreters, and F.D. Pease, the Indian agent, married into the Crow tribe. The agency also acted as a line of defense for the people of Bozeman and Crow from assaults by the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Blackfeet tribes. Fort Parker was abandoned in 1875, even though the Crow and locals from Bozeman and the Gallatin Valley opposed the move east, further into country dominated by the Sioux. Just before the move to Rosebud Creek, near present-day Upsaroki, the Bozeman Grange communicated a letter of support for the Crow and the agency on the Yellowstone, as it is a conceded fact that the tribe of Crow Indians are worth a regiment of troops in the Gallatin Valley. While they are on their reservation, no raids are made by the hostile Indians, and the settlers feel safe and secure. If the agent would justly distribute the annuities and expend the money appropriated in purchasing the supplies, there would be no trouble to keep the Indians on their reservation. Let us drift gently now toward Gudang language. Gudang, or Jagaraga, is an Australian Aboriginal language. It is the traditional language of the Gudang people and is the northernmost language of the Cape York Peninsula in Queensland. It is closely related to Aradhi dialects Aradhi, Ankamuthi, Yadhakenu, Wadhadhi, and so on, its neighbor to the south, and distantly related to its neighbor to the north, the Western Central Torres Strait language, Kalolagoya, from which it borrowed quite a few vocabulary items. Phonology going by the records of the language recorded in MacGillivray and Brierley, as well as comparing these with their Aradhi and WCL counterparts, the phonology of the language appeared to have been as follows. Vowels: I, Roman 2, E, A, U, the high vowels I, Roman 2, and U, had mid-variants thus and. Some Western Central Torres Strait language, WCL. See Kalolagoya loans probably retained the WCL vowels unchanged. The vowels E/E otherwise appear to have had a similar marginal status as in Aradhi, Crowley 1983, 317. Consonants' orthographical differences to the IPA transcription is indicated in brackets. The non-sonorant sounds appear to have had voice contrasts, except after nasals, when both voiced and voiceless allophones occurred, with the voiced allophones seemingly more common. While the laminodental and alveolar contrast was not marked by the European recorders, the Aradhi and WCL cognates strongly suggest that it existed. Differences between Gudang and Aradhi. The main differences in phonology between Gudang and the Aradhi dialects appears to be: voice stops existed where Aradhi has voiced fricatives, in part because of WCL loans, thus Aradhi/beta/V/eth/dh and /letter 263/G correspond to Gudang B, DH, and G. Note that in Ipetha father, Gudang P corresponds to Aradhi/beta/Ivadha, both representing Proto-Paman Piapa, Proto-Gudang Aradhi Piapada. Gudang had reflexive RT from Proto-Paman R and RR Proto-Paman Warapa water, stream, Aradhi Atava, Gudang Artaba Proto-Paman Mara hand, Aradhi Mata, Gudang Arta Proto-Paman Yaru elbow, Aradhi Udu and Kamuthi Uatu, Gudang Utu Proto-Paman Murunya shin, Aradhi Mutani and Kamuthi Murtani. Gudang Ertunya a slightly higher rate of initial dropping, including initial syllables, was evident in Gudang. Gudang retained final CV syllables, where Aradhi has reduced these to C. Gudang had word final RR where Aradhi has L, and stronger retention of RR and L in the clusters RRK and LK. For example, see Ukra and Ralkigamera. Gudang had virtually no trace of the utterance final suppulsion, very evident in Aradhi. For example, Mata Madang, Madak, the one exception being Anhading. However, initial and final vowel elision appeared to have been the norm. There was a strong tendency in Gudang for U to become I before following palatals, and perhaps elsewhere. For example, in Yanha, Ikura. The statistics of the comparisons are listed below. These figures show that Gudang was a separate language from the Aradhi group. Gudang and the Western Central language of Torres Strait, Kalolagoya, Gudang shares about 20% of its words with Kalolagoya, termed WCL equals Western Central language herein. due to loaning between the languages. It is obvious from MacGillivray, Brierley, and Ray that there was extensive intermarriage and contacts between the Gudang and the islanders, particularly but not exclusively with the people of the Muralag group, commonly called the Cowrerg people. The data Brierley and others collected from Barbara Thompson and local people show that where marriage, clan membership, and other cultural aspects were concerned, that the Gudang fitted as much into the islanders' world as in the neighboring Uradhi world. Also, it appeared that the Gudang were on the whole bilingual in WCL, and this perhaps reflects the fact that so many WCL words were recorded as being Gudang by MacGillivray. We will probably never know how many such recorded words were mistakes on his part, by him, or his informants misunderstanding which language was being asked for. Loans or possible loans from the Western Central language of Torres Strait, Kalalago, ya. The following words vary from clear to possible loans, from WCL into Gudang and Uradhi. This is shown by the phonology of the words, retention of consonant initials, and other phonological oddities, from the point of view of Gudang and Uradhi. Most are fairly recent, however. Some, such as Sarah Turn, are older in that the Uradhi dialects have undergone sound changes, similar to those undergone by Pam in word stock. Possible loans are marked WCL op, a garden, G ampaground soil, CFY ampimana clearing WCL aga thuric axe, G aga Y agha WCL a palower below down underneath, G a palower back WCL bog a jaw, G baga cheek WCL bobath, a grandparent, G bubatha grandfather WCL bureau, saw dust, chips, crumbs, G buru ash, ease, WCL don ai, G donha WCL jumoak u, domuak u cloth clothes, G jumuk WCL dhyam, a thunder, Y unthymu at unthumu, a unthymu thunder, the relationship between Uradhi unthymu and WCL dhyam, a is unclear if there is any. A loan in either direction is possible, though the initial syllable in Uradhi might suggest that the word is a loan from WCL into Uradhi. Compare the Yadhakenu word and kappa hat, from English cap. WCL donasum, U eyelash, OKY also samudana. G comudanha WCL GI knife, OKY giri. G Giri Y Giri at Kiri Akiri WCL Ibu chin, G Ibu WCL cab a paddle, G Karaba WCL cat a frog under jaw part of jaw, neck in compounds, Boeig subdialect Kotiko Kodiku frog, G Karda green frog recorded as Kardakata, Y Akarakara WCL kathem, a plural kathamal banana fruit. G Catamara Y Catamara a Catamara WCL Kausar, a inland pandanus Boarua young Kausar, G Budwa Quashara pandanus WCL Kayad grandmother, G Kayad a grandmother WCL Kun a stern, G Kuna or Kuna WCL Cupi, Cly Cupa OKY Cupar birth cord Matha Cupi, Cly Matha cup, OKY Matha Cupar navel, white ant termite. G Munku Y Munka at Munka, a Munka red, anthill WCL Ngaga bird / stingray wing. G Ngaga wing WCL pod, a hill tip top height. G Pada hill Pada head WCL patha cut chop. A Ipata cut chop WCL pui I. Aki, puri magic charm / gear / medicine. That is the material and language used in magic, but not the magic itself which is made. G Upiri medicine Y Upiri at Upiri, a Upiri sore, painful. Witchcraft WCL Pui, I. OKY Puri tree plant post pole log. G. Puri tree WCL san, a dugong tail. G. Canha fishtail WCL saratern. G. Karatern Y. Chara, at Ira seagull WCL sayama. OKY sarima outrigger. G. Karama WCL soguba tobacco. G. Kuka kuka Y slash at slash a. The Gudang forms are perhaps an early loan from Malay koki. Otherwise is an abbreviated form of an unrecorded cucuba. WCL soka lungs of turtle and dugong. G. Kaka lungs WCL teat animal slash bird leg. Compare tedder lower leg, upper foot. G. Tedar finger slash toenail WCL thowel coast, shore, shoreline. G. Thowar seaweed. The WCL word suggests a miscommunication between Mac Gillivray and his informant S. Mistaking seaweed for coast, shore, shoreline. WCL thoyap, U wrist, OKY thoarapu. G. Tharapi wrist, forearm WCL thugu outrigger pole. G. Thugu WCL Yuru slash Wowaru rope, Sizzaluru type of rope. G. Sikaluru WCL Yurui creature, bird. G. Wurai creature WCL Ur slash Wur slash Wower water. G. Uru boil WCL Wapi fish. G. Wapi WCL Waru turtle green turtle. G. Waru Y. Iwaru, a Waru WCL Wagel. A. After behind. G. Wagel thunder, as thunder always follows lightning. Wagel may have been recorded by Mac Gillivray through a misunderstanding. WCL Wapatha cotton tree. G. Wapatha Y. Wapatha at Wapara, a Wapatha WCL Wallape hat. G. Wallapa at Wallapan, a Wallapan WCL Warup, a hourglass-shaped drum. G. Warupa Y. Arupa at Arupa, a Arupa drum WCL Wonawa shell turtle. G. Wanawa at Wanawa turtle shell WCL Wowarab, a. Urab, a. Urab, a coconut. G. Waraba at Warava WCL Yatha. Kul Y. Yetha beard. G. Yetha WCL Kli Kul Y. Kai Yadai Kli Yatha, Aki Yathar spider shell. Y. Yathal a Yatha nail, spider shell WCL Yoath, a long house hall church. Y. Eutha, a Eutha hut house. Church external links bibliography of Gudang people and language resources archived 2015 to 05 to 28 at the Wayback Machine at the Australian Institute of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Studies. Next, we turn softly to Paul Ogden. Paul Ogden is an English football coach and former player. He played for Port Vale and Altrincham. He was manager of Leek Town in 6 separate spells spanning nearly 40 years, and also coached Northwich Victoria, Kidsgrove Athletic, and Whitton Albion. He later worked as a scout at Mansfield Town in Barrow. Playing career, Ogden played for Leek Castle as a left winger, before being spotted by Port Vale, joining them as an amateur in November 1965. He made 2 Football League appearances in 1965 to 66. Released in the spring of 1966, he moved into non-league football. Management career, Ogden took over at Leek Town in 1969, leaving the position 6 years later. After a spell as manager of Northwich Victoria, he returned to Leek in 1977, only to depart the following year. In 2002, he was made caretaker manager of Leek Town for a 3rd time, 33 years after he was first appointed there. After John Ramshaw left the post, Ogden was reappointed as permanent manager in 2003 for what was to be 2 years. He then became manager of Kidsgrove Athletic. Leek had gone through 3 managers between 2005 and 2007, and Ogden was made manager yet again in June 2007. His final spell seemingly came to an end when he was forced to retire due to ill health 6 games into the 2007-08 season. However, just 1 month later, he returned to take charge for one last game before a permanent successor being announced. He returned to the club yet again in January 2008 to assist new player-manager Wayne Johnson. After 2 years out of the game, he was appointed manager of Witten Albion in May 2010 after the resignation of Gary Finlay. 6 years previously, he had turned down the management job at Witten, which he described as a mistake. In June 2011, he was named as Mansfield Town's new head scout by manager Paul Cox, who had played for Leek Town 9 years earlier. During his time at Field Mill Mansfield, won promotion to the English Football League. He left the club in August 2014. Cox again employed Ogden as his chief scout in December 2015, shortly after Cox was appointed manager of Barrow. Ogden was promoted to head of football operations at Barrow in August 2017, meaning he would take over responsibilities for squad planning, player acquisition, and development from Cox. He resigned 2 months later, citing personal reasons. He returned as chief scout in May 2018. He left the club and again was appointed as chief scout in January 2021. He was working at Oldham Athletic as the academy's head of recruitment later in the year. When you are ready, we move on to On Broadway song. On Broadway is a song written by Barry Mann and Cynthia, while in collaboration with the team of Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller. Composition Weil and Mann were based at Alden Music, located at 1650 Broadway, New York City, and the song as written by Mann/Weil was originally recorded by the Cookies, although the Crystals' version beat them to release, and featured an upbeat lyric in which the protagonist is still on her way to Broadway and sings, "I got to get there soon," or "I'll just die." The song was played as a shuffle. When Leiber/Stoller let it be known that the Drifters had booked studio time for the following day, and were a song short, Mann/Weil forwarded On Broadway. Leiber and Stoller liked the song but felt that it was not quite right. The four held an overnight brainstorming session that culminated in the better-known version, now with a rock-oriented groove and with a more bluesy feel, which matched the new lyric in which the singer was now actually on Broadway and having a hard time. The Drifters' version, a young Phil Spector played the distinctive lead guitar solo on the Drifters' recording. The personnel for the Drifters' recording were Ruddy Lewis, lead vocals, Joe Newman, Ernie Royal, trumpets, Billy Butler, Bill Syker, Everett Barksdale, guitars, Russ Savakis, bass, Gary Chester, drums, and Phil Krause, Nick Rodriguez, Martin Grupp, percussion. The arranger was Gary Sherman. The recording by the Drifters was a hit, reaching number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1963. Cashbox described it as a haunting, slow beat cha-cha opus that sports a first-rate Gary Sherman arrangement. The Drifters' version was featured in a 1971 television public service announcement for Radio Free Europe, RFE. The Hungarian expatriate announcer is shown entering the RFE studio announcing, "On Broadway," after which young Hungarians are shown listening to the in sound from outside. In 2013, the 1963 recording of the song by the Drifters on Atlantic Records was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. George Benson's version of On Broadway from his 1978 album Weekend in L.A. hit number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 2 on the Soul chart. Benson's take also has had substantial adult contemporary and smooth jazz radio airplay ever since. It won a Grammy Award for Best R&B Vocal Performance. Benson's version also appears on the All That Jazz soundtrack and is played during the opening scene of the Bob Fosse-directed movie, loosely based on Bob's life. Other notable versions, Clem Curtis and the Foundations recorded a version that was released on the IDM label. Charting in the UK, it debuted in the IPA Airplay Top 10 on September 1, 1984 at number 3, and was at number 5 on the 29th later the same month. Gary Newman included a version of this song on the 1998 expanded version of his live album Living Ornaments 79, notable for Billy Currie's ARP Odyssey solo. The end of the Genesis song The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway features the words "They say the neon lights are bright on Broadway. They say there's always magic in the air." Our next topic tonight is ook som vanligt händer, något hemskt. Ok som vanligt händer, något hemskt, Swedish for, and as usual something terrible happens, is the 7th studio album by Swedish singer and songwriter Veronica Maggio. The album was released in 2 chapters, with the first chapter released on 29th of October 2021. It contained 6 tracks including the singles See Mig, Var som helst/När som helst, and Pa in Bus. The full album was released on 20th of May 2022, with 6 additional tracks including the singles Heaven Med Dig, Hergheströmer, and Lat Mig Ga. Promotion and release on 28th of May 2021. See Mig was released as the album's lead single. Maggio described the song as having a mood of longing to explode and feel great emotions again, with a new perspective as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The single debuted and peaked at number 5 in the Swedish singles chart. It was the album's most successful single, earning a platinum certification and appearing at number 46 on the 2021 year-end Swedish singles chart. The second and third singles, Var som helst/När som helst, and Pa in Bus, were released in September and October 2021, ahead of the release of the first chapter of the album as an extended play on 28th of October 2021. Ok som vanligt händer, något hemskt, capital 1, debuted at number 7 in the Swedish albums chart. On 13th of March 2022, the tracks Hergheströmer and 070XXXXXX were released in anticipation of the full album release. On 13th of May 2022, Heaven Med Dig was released as the 5th single from the album, peaking at number 18 in Sweden. The album released the following week, with the 6 tracks from Chapter 1, the 3 2022 singles and 3 new tracks in a revised track listing order. On the week of album release, Rhythmic debuted and peaked at number 19 on the Swedish singles chart, becoming the album's 4th track to reach the Swedish top 20. Critical reception, Och som vanligt händer något hemskt, received generally positive reviews from critics. In their review of the first chapter, Aftonbladet praised Maggio's perfection of her craft, highlighting tracks such as Se mig and Varsomhelst/När som helst as a reflection of her ability to craft hits that connect with listeners. However, they highlighted the lack of growth and evolution from her previous work. Choosing Daddy Issues as the best of the 6 tracks, they highlighted its new perspective in comparison to the relativity familiarity of the other tracks. This impression of having become a little too good at sounding like herself remained with the release of the full album. While Aftonbladet praised the new tracks as highlights, they criticized the rollout technique, with the album release bringing only 2 new songs and an intro track. In their review, Cult also highlighted the familiarity of themes such as messy youth and bad decisions in Veronica Maggio's music. However, they praised Och som vanligt händer något hemskt, showing deeper self-awareness and genuineness than its predecessor, Fiender är tråkigt, which they had labeled as thematically unrepresentative of Maggio's age. When you are ready, we move on to Secure Network Programming. Secure Network Programming, SNP, is a prototype of the first secure sockets layer, designed and built in 1993 by the Networking Research Laboratory at the University of Texas at Austin, led by Simon S. Lamb. History. This work was published in the 1994 Usenix Summer Technical Conference. For this project, the authors won the 2004 ACM Software System Award. Simon S. Lamb was inducted into the Internet Hall of Fame for inventing secure sockets in 1991 and implementing the first secure sockets layer, named SNP, in 1993. This work began in 1991 as a theoretical investigation by the Networking Research Laboratory on the formal meaning of a protocol layer satisfying an upper interface specification as a service provider and a lower interface specification as a service consumer. A case study of adding a security layer between the application and network layers was presented. The Networking Research Laboratory received a grant from the National Security Agency in June 1991 to investigate how to apply their theory of modules and interfaces to security verification. At that time, there were 3 well-known authentication systems built, MIT's Kerberos, or being developed, DEC's SPX and IBM's Crypto-Night. All of these systems suffered from a common drawback, namely, they did not export a clean and easy-to-use interface that could be readily used by Internet applications. For example, it would take a tremendous amount of effort to Kerberize an existing distributed application. Toward the goal of secure network programming for the masses, the inventors of SNP conceived secure sockets as a high-level abstraction suitable for securing Internet applications. In 1993, they designed and built a prototype of SNP. Designed as an application sublayer on top of sockets, SNP provides a user interface closely resembling sockets. This resemblance was by design, so that security could be retrofitted into existing socket programs with only minor modifications. Also, with such a sublayer carefully designed and its implementation thoroughly debugged, it can be easily used by any Internet application that uses sockets for end-to-end communications. This is a natural idea in hindsight, but in 1993, it was novel and a major departure from mainstream network security research at that time. SNP's secure sockets support both stream and datagram semantics with security guarantees. That is, data origin authenticity, data destination authenticity, data integrity, and data confidentiality. The modular architecture and many of the ideas and design choices in SNP can be found in subsequent secure sockets layers, including placing authenticated communication endpoints in the application layer, use of public key cryptography for authentication, a handshake protocol for establishing session state, including a shared secret, use of symmetric key cryptography for data confidentiality, and managing contexts and credentials in the secure sockets layer. The paper presented on June 8, 1994, at the Usenix Summer Technical Conference includes the system design together with performance measurement, results from the prototype implementation, to clearly demonstrate the practicality of a secure sockets layer. SNP pioneered secure sockets for Internet applications in general, independently and concurrently with the design and development of the HTTP protocol for the World Wide Web, which was still in its infancy in 1993. Subsequent secure sockets layers, SSL by Netscape and TLS by IETF, implemented several years later using the architecture and key ideas first presented in SNP, enabled secure e-commerce between browsers and servers. The primary contributions of the later SSL and TLS were the inclusion of more and stronger cryptographic algorithms, redesign of the handshake protocol, and TLS's continual mitigation against known attacks. Today, many other Internet applications, including email, use HTTPS, which consists of HTTP running over a secure sockets layer. References as of 2023 to 05 to 10. This article is derived in whole or in part from Networking Research Laboratory. The copyright holder has licensed the content in a manner that permits reuse under CC by SA 3, 0, and GFDL. All relevant terms must be followed. The original text was at A Brief History of the First Secure Sockets Layer. Let your mind wander now to Maxim Fadeev. Maxim Max Alexandrovich Fadeev is a Russian singer-songwriter, composer, and producer. Early life and career. Maxim Fadeev was born on 6 May 1968 in Kurgan, Kurgan Oblast, Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. His father, Alexander Ivanovich Fadeev, was a head teacher at a music college. When he was a child, he attended a musical school in Kurgan and learned how to play bass guitar. He later attended 2 universities, both musical, when aged only 15. Fadeev started working with professional musicians in 1989, such as Larissa Dolina and Valery Leontiev. He was supported by showman and actor Sergei Kirillov, who also presented Fadeev to the world of professional music. 1993 to 2003, Linda and Star Factory 2. In 1993, Fadeev started managing singer Svetlana Jamin, who would later become famous as Linda. Fadeev wrote, produced, and composed her music material. Having been managed by Fadeev, Linda rose to media attention, and a quick shot to stardom followed, backed by both her over-the-top music which pleased the critics, and her offbeat, semi-ethnic, Tibet-driven visual persona, epitomized by the Vorona video which helped her to be eagerly accepted nationwide. The partnership of the two broke in 1999. Linda eventually started writing her songs herself. After great success as a music producer, Fadeev was also successful as a television producer of the second season of Channel One's talent show Star Factory 2. Star Factory 2 eventually brought to prominence many popular Russian singers, such as Yulia Savisheva, Elena Temnikova, Irakli Persilava, Pierre Narcisse, and Yelena Turleva. Savisheva eventually competed for Russia in the Eurovision Song Contest 2004, reaching the 11th place. Soon after Star Factory 2, Fadeev started managing singer Glukoza, who became a music star. Fadeev established his own recording company, Monolith Records, in 2003. Located in Moscow, it soon became one of the most influential recording companies in Russia, as well as in the states of the former USSR. In 2004, Monolith Records produced and published the album of Katia Lel, Deja Aya, which was certified platinum in Russia. In 2005, Fadeev returned to TV production as a co-producer of Channel One's talent show Star Factory 5. He later focused on his new project, the girl group Cerebro. The band won the 3rd place at the Eurovision Song Contest 2007, has won numerous awards since, and became one of the most popular Russian pop acts of the decade. The band released their debut album, Opium Raz, on 25th of April 2009 for Monolith Records. Fadeev and Monolith Records opened an audition for a new solo female singer. Cartoon Sava in 2007, Fadeev wrote a book named Sava, and later wrote the original script for the cartoon of the same name. Glukoza Production is involved in producing the 3D cartoon Sava. Fadeev's son, Sava, is the prototype for the cartoon's main hero. In 2010, American screenwriter Gregory Poirier wrote the adaptation of the cartoon script for the U.S. market, with Fadeev slated to direct the cartoon and compose the score. The premiere of the cartoon was scheduled for 2013. In 2011, the voice cast was announced, including Sharon Stone, Whoopi Goldberg, Joe Pesci, Mila Jovovich, and Will Chase. It was released as A Warrior's Tale. Former Oleg Miami Linda, Irakli Persilava Pierre Narcisse Katia Lel Laura Convoy Percy Victoria Ilinskaya Star Factory 2 Star Factory 5 Voron Kidai Olga Romanovskaya Total Mali Olga Seryebkina Nargiz Zakirova Yulia Savisheva. singles esit seri ya feet. Glucosa, vedevero yo feet. Narges breach the line. Slubera yeru in ye era ssste avera kratkoite ye yeri, feet. Narges, oerel yeru elive oero en yeru, feet. Grigory Leps, te ye kate oer yadero feet. Yuliana Karolova, honors and awards honored worker of the arts industry of the Russian Federation. And now a new story begins. John Wills Johnson. John Samuel Wills Johnson was a British naval officer, and for a short time, a Conservative Party politician. Early life Wills Johnson was born in South Stoke, Somerset to Charles Johnson and Mary Wills, daughter of the Archdeacon of Wells, William Wills. His sister, Harriet Johnson, married John Owen Herbert of Dalforgan Hall, and after his death, Sir John Edwards, 1st Baronet of Garth. From her first marriage, she was the mother of Harriet Avarina Brunetta Herbert, wife of Walter Long, eldest son of Walter Long. From her second marriage, she was the mother of Mary Cornelia Edwards, wife of George Vane Tempest, 5th Marquess of Londonderry. Career entering the Navy in 1807, Wills Johnson became a first-class volunteer serving on the Vestal under Captain Edwards Lloyd Graham for 2 years at Home and Newfoundland stations. Becoming a master's mate in 1809, he was then placed in charge of the merchantman Fortitude, deploying the ship at Lisbon and Cadiz. During his travels, he succeeded in a ruse de guerre, causing an enemy's armed vessel to sheer off despite not possessing a gun on board on the ship. Wills Johnson then returned to England, where his arrival was received for 3 months on the Port Mahon sloop captained by Villiers Francis Hatton. In August 1810, he returned to the seas with Graham on the Pallas, heading for the coast of Norway, where he aided in the capture of 4 Danish privateers and several merchantmen. Wills Johnson and Graham then sailed together on the Southampton and Alkmene, the latter of which he went on to the Adriatic Sea, where he was involved in a number of boat affairs. One such occasion in 1812 included capturing a Franco-Venetian trabacalo, including 4 guns and 30 men, near Lesina Island after a conflict in which many of the enemy's crew were killed, while just 4 British were slain. Leaving the Alkmene in 1813, he joined the Pylade sloop with Captain James Erskine Wemyss, before he then became acting lieutenant of the Caledonia bearing the flag of the late Lord Exmouth. Wills Johnson then went on half pay in 1814, before returning to full pay in 1815. After this, he sailed with the Boyne, visiting Naples, Marseille, and the Barbary States and Queen Charlotte, on which he participated in the bombardment of Algiers. He then had a short further period of half pay, before being nominated in 1817 to be flag lieutenant to the Impregnable at Plymouth, where he remained, until promoted to commander in 1821. Then, in 1835, he joined Her Majesty's Coast Guard for 3 years, and in 1841 he commanded the Wolverine on its voyage to China, where he arrived towards the end of the First Opium War. Retiring from active service in 1842, he was made captain post in 1847, and a little captain before retiring altogether in 1847. Writing career: Wills Johnson wrote at least one literary work, a journal of a tour through parts of France, Italy, and Switzerland, in the years 1823 to 4, published in 1827. Political career: Wills Johnson was elected MP for Montgomery at a by-election in 1861, caused by the death of his father-in-law David Pugh, and held the seat until his own death in 1863. Personal life: he married Elizabeth de Wint, daughter of John de Wint, in Paris in 1821, and they had one child, Elizabeth Sarah Johnson, who married Capt. Joseph Clayton Jennings de Wint of Blunston House. After Elizabeth's death in 1842, in 1849, he married secondly Joanna Burns Smeaton, who died 5 years later. In 1858, Wills Johnson married thirdly Margaret Ann Pugh, daughter of David Pugh and Anne Vaughan, and they had 2 daughters, Harriet Mildred Vaughan Johnson, who in 1880 married Henry Jenner Scoble, an Army officer. In the 1921 census, her name is given as H. Mildred V. Scoble, suggesting that she was known as Mildred. Maud Felicia Frances Ann Johnson, who married Robert Challoner Critchley Long, son of Richard Penruddock Long and Charlotte Anna Hume, in 1884. He died at Westhill in Highworth, Wiltshire, and was buried at Hannington. Descendants through his eldest daughter Elizabeth: he was a grandfather of Harry de Wint, who married 1 Frances Laura Arabella Long, sister of the 1st Viscount Long, 2 Hilda Frances Clark, daughter of the Rev. William Robinson Clark, and 3 actress Charlotte Elizabeth Ihel, better known by her stage name Elaine in Escourt, and Margaret Alice Lily de Wint, who married Charles Brooke, Rajah of Sarawak. And now a new story begins. Meshack Asare. Meshack Asare is a popular African children's author. He was born in Ghana and currently resides in Degenfeld, Germany. On 15th of July 2014, he was announced as a finalist for the prestigious International Award, the 2015 NSK Neustadt Prize for Children's Literature, which he won on 24th of October 2014, becoming the first African to receive the award. The Brassman's Secret was his representative text read by the nominating jury, and the award honors his entire body of work. Life: Meshack Asare was born on 18th of September 1945 in Nyankumasi, Ghana. His mother Agatha Adoma Ephraim was a trader, and his father Joseph K. Asare was an accountant. Asare was the second of 6 children. Asare studied fine arts at the College of Art in Kumasi, and between 1967 and 1979, he was a teacher in Ghana. During this time, he began to write and illustrate children's books, including the much-translated Tawia Goes to Sea, which received the Ghana National Book Award and the UNESCO citation, Best Picture Book from Africa. After a period of 10 years during which he did not publish any work, Asare returned in 1981 with a new book, The Brassman's Secret, which was translated into many languages, and won the Noma Award in 1982 as the best book published in Africa in the preceding year. Many further successes followed. In 1984, Asare's Cat in Search of a Friend won the Austrian National Prize and a BIB Golden Plaque at the Bratislava Biennial. Asare studied for an M.A. degree in social anthropology at the University of London School of Oriental and African Studies, and since 1993 he was based in London, while frequently traveling throughout to Africa, looking to experience as many African cultures as possible so as to represent them in his works. His book Sasu's Call was the winner of the 1999 UNESCO First Prize for Children's and Young People's Literature in the Service of Tolerance. Children's Literature Noma's Sand, A Tale from Lesotho, Sub-Saharan Publishers, 2002, Melaga's Day, Sub-Saharan Publishers, 2000, Nana's Son, Sub-Saharan Publishers, 2000, Sasu's Call, Sub-Saharan Publishers, 1997, The Magic Goat, Sub-Saharan Publishers, 1997, Halima Macmillan, 1992, Cat in Search of a Friend, Austria, Jungbrunnen, 1984, Chipo and the Bird on the Hill, A Tale of Ancient Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe Publishing House, 1984, The Brassman's Secret Education Press, 1981, Tawia Goes to See, Ghana Publishers, 1970, Mansa Helps at Home, Ghana Publishers, 1969, I Am Kofi, Ghana Publishers, 1968, Short Stories Bury My Bones But Keep My Words, African Tales for Retelling, HarperCollins, 1991. Our next topic tonight is Bone Cancer Research Trust. The Bone Cancer Research Trust, BCRT, is a charity dedicated to fighting primary bone cancer. The charity funds research, raises awareness of the disease, provides patient information, and provides support services. The charity operates internationally, but is based in the United Kingdom. Charity number 1,159,590, registered in 2006 in England and Wales. About BCRT funds research into primary bone cancer, in particular osteosarcoma, Ewing's sarcoma, chondrosarcoma, chordoma, spindle cell sarcoma, and adamantinoma. History. BCRT was initially a parents group started in September 2004. 5 families who had lost children to osteosarcoma and wanted to see more research carried out into this rare cancer to hopefully improve the outcome for future sufferers were brought together. The parents group increased with the addition of families, including one from Ireland, whose children had battled against another primary bone cancer, Ewing's sarcoma. Expanding the group helped to unite skills and enthusiasm, as well as funds already raised. The families pooled money totaling £176,000 to start the charity and fund the first pieces of research. The Bone Cancer Research Trust became a registered charity in March 2006, and by September 2006, the first 2 successful applications for research grants had been accepted. Research funding the charity normally puts out 2 research calls per year. To date, the charity has funded 83 projects totaling £3.9 million. Present-day activities and future direction. The families who formed the charity had major concerns regarding the lack of reliable information available. Little detailed information resources were available in the UK or the Internet as a whole. Alongside research funding, information provision is now one of the charity's activities. The Bone Cancer Research Trust provides information, online and printed, on primary bone cancers for patients, their families, the general public, media, and healthcare professionals. Currently, there is detailed information on osteosarcoma, Ewing sarcoma, and chondrosarcoma, and a glossary/medical dictionary. Raising awareness. The Bone Cancer Research Trust has an annual Awareness Week in October. During Awareness Week, various activities are carried out by the charity's supporters, with the main campaign being Bake a Cake for Bone Cancer. Another highlight is the annual Patients and Supporters Conference, which brings together patients and parents with the many different professionals whose work affects the lives of those who find themselves with a diagnosis of bone cancer. Fundraising. The work of the Bone Cancer Research Trust is almost entirely funded by the public. The charity raises money through donations, community fundraising events, retail, and legacies. Fundraising events are commonly tagged on social media using #TeamBones. Publications. The Bone Cancer Research Trust produces a twice-yearly newsletter entitled United. Partnerships. The Bone Cancer Research Trust has National Institute for Health and Care Research, NIHR, partner status. The charity also works closely with the Teenage Cancer Trust and the Information Standard. Board of Trustees. BCRT governance is provided by a Board of Trustees. The current Chair of Trustees is Professor Allison Gartland, Research Active Cell Biologist. The Deputy Chair of Trustees is Elizabeth Edock. The remaining board consists of Gil Johnstone, founder and patient parent, Mr. Jonathan Stevenson, consultant orthopedic surgeon, Professor Bernadette Brennan, consultant pediatric oncologist, Arlene Eves, former patient, Dr. Darrell Green, research active molecular biologist and geneticist, and Damian Harper, former patient. Celebrity supporters: James Corden, Diane Louise Jordan, Patterson Joseph, Piers Morgan, Amanda Holden, Ben Sheffard, Aled Jones. That is all for tonight. Let the silence settle in. Sleep well.